Hey guys, welcome to another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about should you invest in a Roth IRA or a thrift savings plan. Now, this isn't going to be for everyone because, not everyone has access to, both of these, but, saving for retirement is one goal commonly shared by most individuals, right? Unless you you're like independently wealthy, or say you inherited a bunch of money, right? And you feel confident that you're never going to have to rely on savings, right? Which for me, neither of those have occurred. You're most likely going to want to put money aside during your working years to ensure your comfort and security after you retire, right? You want to live comfortably. Well, investing to build up a safety net for your future can start with as little as investing $1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 500,000, right? Because you got to start somewhere, right? And today, in this day and age, it really is really simple to get started with just a couple dollars, right? Just putting away a couple dollars a week, it adds up over time, right? As we've said before, the earlier you start investing, the better, right? Because compound interest, just so good, so good. Okay. But this can be done in a number of ways, right? There's dozens of different types of retirement savings plans to choose from, and each plan has its own benefits, but they also have their drawbacks. So it's going to make that really important to find the one that, you know, best meets your current and long-term financial needs or requirements or what you're looking for, right? So members of like the military and federal employees like myself, we have additional savings tools at our disposal, making the decision where to save even more complicated, right? We're gonna look at the like I said earlier, the thrift savings plan, which is something offered to government employees, their families, service members, so on and so forth, right? And everyone has access to a Roth IRA, right? But more specifically, we're going to be looking at the benefits or drawbacks of each of these compared to each other. A Roth IRA is basically after tax today for tax free later, right? So a Roth IRA is available to any individual or married couple that falls under the income thresholds established by the IRS, right? To be eligible as a contributor to a Roth IRA, you must make contributions from taxable compensation, such as that received from self employment, wages, salaries, commissions, and bonuses. Now, members of the military, or if you work for the government, and civilians have access to a Roth IRA if they meet those required conditions. Now, Roth IRA contributions are made with after tax dollars, right? So that's going to mean the account owner will never pay, income tax on the contributions or earnings when taking them as qualified distributions. Now, qualified distributions are going to include the withdrawal of contributions at any time and earnings after the account is open for 5 tax years and the owner is 59 and a half years of age. These Roth IRA rules are very beneficial to individuals who may find themselves in a higher tax bracket when distributions are taken as income tax has already been paid and no further taxation will occur. Roth IRAs can be opened with almost any major brokerage. You can even get them in robo-advisors like Betterment and Wealthfront, and they're going to do all that investing for you. Now, thrift savings plans, otherwise known as TSP, right? Available to service members and federal employees, right? The federal thrift savings plan is another option to consider for retirement savings. So this plan is going to commonly, like I said earlier, like it's the acronym is TSP, but it's similar. It's commonly referred to, or it's similar to the standard 401k, right? Which a lot of people know just a standard 401k, right? No big deal, but different from the Roth IRA in a lot of ways, right? So contributions to the TSP are made with pre-tax dollars, which reduces the amount of taxable income in the year contributions are made. So, of course, since taxes have not been paid on the contributions, distributions from the TSP will be taxed. If you're in a higher income tax bracket when money is withdrawn, it can be not so good, right? So, really, let's talk about some of the big differences between the two so you can better understand, like, maybe which one is going to be better for you. So, the differences between the two plans don't end just at how they're taxed, right? That is a big factor, but that's not the only thing. So, I want you to consider some of these following things to help aid you in your decision, right, as to which plan is best for your financial needs. So, let's talk about contribution limits. You can contribute up to 19,500 US dollars per year in the TSP, the Thrift Savings Plans, for 2021, or $26,000 if you're 50 or older. 2021 Roth IRA contributions are permitted up to $6,000 per year, or $7,000 if you're 50 or older. Now, the minimum withdrawal age for TSP, it's going to be 59 and a half years of age to avoid the early withdrawal penalties for distributions. Now, Roth IRA owners may withdraw contributions at any age without penalty in earning after 59 and a half, right? The required minimum distributions, or you might see it acronymed as RMD, right? Minimum mandatory distributions must be taken from TSP at age 72 compared to the Roth IRA, which has no requirement, right? There's no requirement like that. But failure to take the minimum required distribution results in a 50% penalty from the IRS. So, trying to keep all this in mind, which one should I do or did I do, and which one should you do? Well, really, TSP or Roth, you just need to make sure you're saving something for retirement, right? They both offer distinct advantages and in some cases disadvantages. Those who have access to both a Roth IRA and TSP may benefit by first maxing out contributions to a Roth IRA and then putting additional savings in the TSP to gain the most benefit from both plans. Currently, what I'm doing, my company does a 5% matching. So I have a Roth IRA that I do up to the matching, right? And then I currently don't have the TSP, but I probably very soon will. And hopefully, what I'll be able to do is on down the line, as I get wage increases, I just increase the amount I'm putting into my retirement. And after I get the 5% matching in my Roth IRA, all the increases I get in wages will go into the TSP. Right, so if I get a 2% wage bump every year, or a 1% wage bump, or whatever it might be, all that extra income will just go straight into my TSP, and I'll keep living on the same amount of money. So really, it just comes down to, what do you think is better for you? Do you want to be taxed? Do you think you're going to save enough to be in a much higher tax bracket when you withdraw the money, or not? It's really one of the bigger questions. The after-tax contributions, right? You can get tax-free growth and tax-free withdrawals, right? And you have pretty good savings for retirements, and you have none of those RMDs, right? The required minimal distributions. So honestly, that's the big question I would ask, right? Do you think you're going to have 800, 900, $1 million, right, in your account when you retire? Because if you do, the amount you take out could be $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year, putting you in a higher tax bracket than you currently are. Or maybe you're making $100,000 a year now, and when you get further down the line, you're only going to be taking out $60,000 a year, and it might put you in a lower tax bracket, and it might not matter which way you go. But that's the big question I would probably ask myself. If you can do both, do both. There's no harm in doing both. I know that some people can't afford it, and that's understandable. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe you got some good information out of it. If you did, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and until I see you guys in the next video, y'all be safe.